Hello weirdos! Welcome to my messy journey through space and time, from everyday tiny experiences to the great complicated concepts. This is episode 001, the one about us, losers. Maybe it's not the biggest discovery of the year, but let's say it out loud. Usually realization of losing something is not an awesome experience. And right now I am a pretty good example of that, because for the last 2 hours I was just sitting in front of the microphone and trying to record anything. And trying is a keyword here, because mostly I was just looking into the wall and biting my nails, so in the end I irrevocably lost 2 hours of my life thinking if I should maybe change my voice, because I think I sound like a squirrel with a full nose. And in return, not only I didn't get an answer to that question, but I also lost half of my nails. And actually, it's not fully true, because besides those 2 unproductive hours I just described, it took me over a week more to finally start recording, because I decided that maybe it will be better to write a script so I say exactly what I mean. And in the meantime I got sick and I had some technical problems, because obviously setting the microphone is such a hard thing. It took me 3 days to sound louder than the white noise in the ether. And I'm not really saying it to complain, because still it's really exciting to talk whatever I want, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity, but I'm talking about it because it visualizes very well the topic of my talk, which is losing. And it's not even so much about the time or the energy, but the most painful thing I had to lose during the process was some image that my ego held for a while, that I have so much to say I will just sit down and record an awesome stream of my thoughts in half an hour. Well, not really, so I had to throw out one more opinion about myself to trash. And it's not an unusual thing, because yeah, we are losing something every day, and not only those obvious 24 hours. Maybe, for example, it's a banana taste, because you are Chidi, this undecisive character from the Netflix series The Good Place, and you had to choose between 2 muffins, and in the end you took the one with blueberries. And now you are wondering if the one with bananas wouldn't be better. Or maybe it's some money, because investing in the new cryptocurrency seemed like such a good idea a couple of months ago, but 2020 proved you wrong by lowering your income and magically not lowering your rent. Or maybe you thought you will spend 25th Christmas of your life in Paris, dancing with the love of your life in front of the shining Eiffel Tower. But not only you don't know if it's even legal to go to France now, but your relationship status is still really complicated. And you just dropped dancing classes because you discovered 12 new muscles while crying in pain after the first lesson. Understanding that we have to give up something, a relationship or idea about the world or about ourselves, can be very painful. And let's be honest, here in the Western bubble, we are not standing losses very well. We are surrounded by ads shouting at us that we can preserve youth with this special shining product, and we can always be happy with this second one with glitter. We hear all the time that we can do anything, and the only limit is the blue sky above us. And like, come on, what does it even mean? It's not like the sky is some kind of dome, so we can grow and grow until we hit it. Or is it? Anyway, going back to our round Earth, we are closed in a culture oriented on success, in which failures of protagonists are important only for showing their progress. So in the end, the movie hero can win in the glory and with the applause of saved souls. I don't think it's really close to reality. In fact, I believe that losing has no bigger meaning. It just happens all the time. Of course, we can try to be amazing in every aspect of our lives, running after perfection and trying to avoid being a loser. But the thing is, even a perfect creature must lose some things. When we think about our limited resources and minds that are experts in making up stories, it seems just inevitable that a simple choice is already dooming us to lose something else that we could experience at the same time by choosing a different option. And it's okay. That's the point of this episode. I want to tell you that if right now you feel like the biggest loser on earth, it's totally okay. I guess almost everyone sometimes does, and probably it just means that you simply care about things happening around you. That's it. I think that being a loser is strongly bonded with connecting to things, people, and places. It's like in the Toy Story movie when Andy puts his name on the toys. We want to simplify reality, and even though we know in the context of the universe nothing is really ours, we want to be able to say, this is my toy. Maybe it gives us a feeling of safety and belonging somewhere, but yeah, it's just really nice to have something, to be able to say, it is mine. And because of that, we have to feel the loss when we don't have this thing anymore. My beloved band, Depeche Mode, has those words in one of their songs. You can't lose what you haven't got. And even though I love the song very much, I cannot fully agree. I mean, yeah, you cannot literally lose something that you don't possess, but as long as your brain connects to something, it thinks it's yours in a way. You name it, your friend, your room, your job, and if some of this connection ends, the brain feels just tricked that it cannot name it yours anymore, and that causes pain. I believe we also struggle with giving up stuff because we see it very personally. Maybe you know what I mean. For example, if you got fired, it's highly possible you are immediately mocking yourself that you are a shitty worker, or your father was right by telling you that you always make unreasonable life decisions when you decide that you don't want to go to law studies. Okay, to be honest, I have no idea if those fathers that are in love with law careers still exist. I am definitely not an expert if it's about fathers, so let's just leave it. But the point is, there is a bigger picture of you being fired. Maybe your personality doesn't work well with the character of the company, or maybe they had to fire someone because of the market situation. It doesn't say anything about your value or if you are a good person, but we immediately see loss as a failure and the failure as a measurement of how shitty we are. And this is a trap, because putting our value on something that is not dependent on us is just a very easy way to become anxious and frustrated with every day. I think we are just doomed to lose and we cannot really stop it. But what we can do is to try finding different ways how to react, what to focus on when it happens. We can notice that actually we have more options than we thought we have. I am not a scientist, educated philosopher or psychologist, but for me it was really important to hear from someone else that ending things is just a natural part of life. And I want to say it out loud now, because there is a chance that someone needs to hear it today. And it can sound very trivial, but we cannot change what we cannot change, and the best solution for our helplessness is acceptance of reality. Right now it's Christmas time, and because I'm living next to a big shopping center, I have an opportunity to see the effects of deforestation every day very clearly when I walk next to the hundreds of trees waiting for the customers. Watching them resonates very strongly with me, because it reminds me of the fairy tale called The Fir Tree that was written by Hans Christian Andersen. Do you know it? If you don't, maybe it's a good time to stop the podcast, Google it and read it on your own. But if you are willing to hear spoilers straight from the year 1844, or you know the fairy tale and you just need some quick recap, let me just quickly remind you some parts of it. The fairy tale tells a story of a few life stages of a fir tree, starting with its youth spent in the forest. The tree from the beginning of its life was annoyed by the world around. When it was very small, it was looking at the bigger trees in jealousy, dreaming how awesome it will be to grow up and see everything from the above. Growing up, it was happening from time to time that some hares were jumping over the tree, and it hated it in the moment, thinking how great it would be to be taller. But when the tree was finally big, it didn't get satisfaction. Rather opposite, it started to dream about travels and escaping from the forest. Later, when it learned that some of cut trees go to houses for Christmas, it wanted to be a Christmas tree as well, dreaming about what amazing can happen then. Finally, our main character was also cut, and then the tree immediately started to see how precious were other trees, flowers, bushes and birds. Losing the elements of the world that until then weren't even really noticed by the fir tree unexpectedly started to be really painful and gave them huge value. But of course, it's not the end of the story, because then Christmas started and the tree got decorations, and for a short moment, it was in the full glory that it was looking for a long time. But it was just a short moment, and when kids took all candies and toys from the tree, it was miserable again, wondering what will happen next. And the next day, servants brought the tree to an attic, so it was suffering again, thinking this time about hares from the forest. How nice was their presence. I think you can see the pattern very clearly already, but it happened a few more times that the tree was not able to enjoy the time in any place, dreaming about being somewhere else, and then, after something had changed, it was weeping over the amazing moments and happiness that it lost. And in the end, the tree was chopped into pieces and burned, dying without being satisfied at any moment of its life. I remember that this story made a very strong impression on me as a kid, because I thought it was endlessly sad that the tree went through so many unpleasant moments, it was miserable and had to lose everything, one thing after another. And by everything, I mean vitality, friends, respect, beautiful surroundings. But now, from the perspective of time, I see it completely different. And I think that Fair Tree was unhappy not because of what was happening outside, but because of what was happening inside of it. I mean, because of its mindset. Thinking about the past and future was making the tree unable to focus on the present and just enjoying things when they were happening. It seems like the tree was looking for greener grass all the time instead of experiencing events fully. But the thing is that it is very easy to jump to conclusions like just be happy and enjoy, but it doesn't really help if you ask me in actual enjoying. You cannot really force yourself to feel something as much as you cannot control the world so it is more pleasing. What you can do, in my opinion, is just tricking your brain, playing with it a little bit by understanding and accepting. First of all, yes, losing sometimes hurts so much that we have to go through long and seemingly hopeless mourning. I hope we all remember that not pleasing emotions are very important, and the best thing we can sometimes do is just to let ourselves feel bad. Every grief has few steps, and being in one of them, you cannot just simply jump to the end. It's a process, and to go through it properly, acceptance is the key. And in this case, by accepting, I mean acknowledging in what state is your mind, noticing what is happening to you, and not fighting it artificially. Let's say, for example, that you lost your job, and at this moment, you feel pure anger. If you can name the feeling and simply observe that you are not able to think constructively about what to do with your career, because right now you just want to kick your ex-boss, maybe instead of forcing yourself to do something productive, you can just simply express your anger in some safe way. Maybe you just need to take a piece of paper and write a letter to them decorated with drawings of dicks. Of course, you don't have to send it, but the point is to ventilate the anger. Accepting your experience and going through it makes it possible to see the whole situation from the perspective, to notice the next options for what to do, and to actually move forward. The second idea I got for you anymore, maybe you don't even know what happened and why it just doesn't work, but your intuition tells you it will never be the same as it was. And yeah, maybe it won't, but you can still have awesome memories, and instead of thinking, geez, why we cannot eat pancakes together anymore, you can be grateful for the time you spent together, everything you learned from each other, for songs you wouldn't know without this person, and for the taste of maple syrup you enjoyed together. And to be honest, I struggle with it a lot because of my melancholic attitude towards great memories and building on them some flawed conclusions. But I think in this aspect it is really useful to describe reality literally and without great statements. It can be really tempting to say, I won't have a friend ever again. But it's not reality. The reality is that now it is not possible for you to be friends with a specific person at a specific time. It doesn't say anything about your future friendships or lack of them. And the last thing I figured out in the topic is that it can be really helpful to understand that we can use different words instead of losing, that are much less negative. Because if we look at the language side of the problem, it shows that we often see losing as an opposite situation to winning. And it fits if it's about some chess duel or basketball match, but we tend to see the whole life as a huge binary game in which we can gain or lose some fictional points. So when we get -2 or 10, it means we didn't try hard enough. But what if we don't see losing as a failure or a gloomy proof of our imperfection, but as an inevitable ending of some parts of our lives? It happens anyway that all things go to an end, so maybe we could just accept it instead of fighting reality all the time, and just name it in a way that fits more. We can simply describe the state we are in now by saying that we don't have something or that we are not like this or that anymore. For example, if we say I am 40 instead of I lost my youth, I think it takes the burden from our shoulders. It's a clear information that doesn't have all those negative connotations. Life is not a simple game of losers and winners, and it can be very relieving and liberating to see just series of experiences that come to us and then leave us. It seems much more like a natural life flow. Is it easy? Of course no, but I think closing something and accepting that now you have some empty space in you can be just beautiful, because it can give us space for new experiences. It means we are not standing in one place, and the thought of everything that will happen to me that couldn't happen without closing all things is just thrilling. Do you remember yourself from a few years ago? How different you were? You couldn't be who you are now without losing parts of your beliefs, some people that were around you, maybe an old place you lived in. So actually, being a loser shaped you and brought you here. Being a loser made this new version of you. And yes, losing can be very scary, but to see then who we are because of it, This is, in my opinion, endlessly interesting and definitely worth applause. The fact that everything we experience is just for a while makes the things that are happening valuable in our eyes. And from the perspective of the universe, yeah, of course, it's ridiculous how we attach to things that last only for a few tiny moments, when so soon we will have to lose everything, because if we as humanity can be pretty sure of anything, at least at this moment of the history, it's that we are all doomed to die. It's just simply being a human, to attach to things, people and places, and then to lose them, and then to attach to new ones. It's just a very fragile and beautiful process called life, and I think it's beautiful that we can all the time experience new things that come to us after the ones we had to lose. So let's just celebrate it with some juice or a small dance. Love you, losers! Okay, I think we officially finished this emotional philosophical journey. I still don't know what to do about my voice, but if you were just listening to the podcast, obviously I had decided something. I am really grateful that you traveled with me. Thank you very much. Hopefully hear you in the next journey through my messy brain. Live long and prosper, and remember, for aliens, we are aliens.